In fact, there are some filmmakers who are sort of like pre-approved in my head. They call me for anything. I will go with material of what the character is or what the script is like. I just don't care you because I don't go and watch the monitor after each take. I feel like my judgment of it will never be right. I have to trust my director with that. As the audiences change or as they evolve, the industry will automatically follow that evolution or will try to match what, because it is demand and supply at the end. So far only worked in languages which I have a certain amount of comfort with like Hindi, Tamil and Malayalam. Of course, Malayalam is my mother tongue. It's a language I'm most comfortable in.
So hi Roshan, Shreyas this side from CinemaExpress.
Hi,
Uh,
Shreyas.
Congratulations for KanKhajura. I've seen some episodes of the show and I was quite shocked by your performance and the way you are, trying to internally come make the character alive. So I just wanted to begin by just that. How was it to, prepare for this role because it demands a lot emotionally and uh, it sort of involves going into your own, psyche to bring out something. So how was that process like?
Yeah, it was like not very different, honestly, from any other character. It's just that the possibilities with Ashu are endless. You feel really liberated because you can do anything with this kind of a character. There are no restrictions with Ashu. So all I had to sort of do was be very sure about the core of him, his reasons for doing the things that he's doing and saying the things that he's saying. And once that was in place, and it's very he's a very simple guy when you break him down, right? He just wants his brother's love and affection. He just wants his brother to be his brother. So once you get to the core of that all he needs, all he desires is love from his brother, then I feel like that part of it is sorted. Then it's just about not thinking too much and going with the flow, because otherwise you will tend to get stuck in the body. And like with somebody like Ashu, you want him to just exist fully and freely. So I think
Right.
during shoot it was actually like as intense as it might seem. The certain moments in the show and all of that, it was physically draining, emotionally exhausting, but it was a very enjoyable shooting experience just because it felt like just flowing with it when in the moments that we did get it right.
Right. And when you're playing such dark characters and when you're like at first, is there a point that you sort of judge them or view them in a certain way and have to then stop and not do that?
Not really. I don't know if that's how actors usually work, but I try to uh, find my reasons to empathize with them and justify what they're doing rather than judge them, because otherwise it gets a little difficult to play. So after shoot, when you come back home and you're just being yourself and you think about it completely detached as a third person, like, okay, there are certain things I approve of and certain things I disapprove of
Hmm.
on a very moral level, and these things I feel were wrong. But while you're playing that character, it has to feel right. It has to feel like the right thing to do. In fact, it has to feel like the only possible thing that can be done in that situation.
Hmm.
Only then can you get yourself to convincingly do or say these things which are quite extreme.
Right. And also just talking about the difficulties that such a role brings in terms of how was it to sort of get into the character, for lack of a better word? This is a very lot of like overused term, but
Mm.
uh, how was it to get? How difficult was it to get into the character? And then, as you said, when you came back home, was
Mm.
it difficult to get out of it after like the show was over?
So I'll go in reverse order. It wasn't difficult to get out of it at all. It was
Okay.
because our shoot was super, super hectic. Every single day, there was a lot of work to be done. So by the time we wrap on each day, it was just like, oh my God, I need to rest. And at that point, you aren't physically capable of, staying in character or carrying some amount of baggage. Maybe on days when you've had like a really good shoot day, you go back with some amount of joy, or a day when you feel like was a bad day, you go back with some amount of disappointment, and you're thinking, okay, next day I've got to make this better, or next
Mm.
day I've got to keep this going. But apart from that, there's no emotional baggage that comes home with you. I've never really felt that. There is physical exhaustion, that's all. And maybe like you'll feel like not talking to somebody on the phone, or not like going on
Mm.
social media or anything. You just want to like zone out and rest. That's all. Getting into it actually was fairly also made comfortable because of the people I was working with, and primarily Chandan sir. His understanding of Ashu and every other character in the show, for that matter, is incredible. So he is this guy that you can go to with anything, and he'll have an answer, and it won't be the answer that you have in your head. So, like,
Okay.
he'll give you always like a new spin on it, or a new like angle to look at things, a new option to try out. So it's great that you're getting to set with a certain idea, but Chandan sir works in a way that he makes sure that all of his actors are getting on set prepared for their understanding or that particular idea that they have of the scene to change
Mm.
in like a conversation with him. So we're all like fairly fluid in that sense. He makes us that, and I really personally enjoy that. I don't want to be bad, like weighed down with just my ideas of the character and how the scene should play out. And then the crew that we were working with, starting with Rajiv sir, who shot the thing, they made the process of shooting each scene so comfortable that it was very easy for us to just sort of like stay in character, for lack of a better way to put it.
Right. Uh, Also, it's adopted from an Israeli show, Magpie.
Yeah.
When something is adopted from another show, as an actor, do you want to watch the original show to get a sense of it, or do you want to bring your own interpretations to it? How
So
does it work?
Chandan sir had told us that we don't really have to watch it. In fact, he advised us against watching it. I was very, very curious, because when you read material, or you read a script, or like the story brief of a show that you feel really excited by, and then you find out that this thing already exists somewhere, and it's
Mm,
an
mm,
adaptation, then there's this like curiosity in you to just go and take one peek at it, like what does it all look like, what does this character look like, what
yeah.
has this person done. So I went and watched like 5 minutes of it, and I very immediately sensed that okay, this is dangerous. I am going to retain some, and it was very close to shoot actually. So
Okay.
I felt like I was, if I continue watching, I was going to retain some of what that particular actor has done. So I stopped immediately. I wanted to just find my own version of Ashu with Chandan sir.
Okay. That's interesting. Um, Also, as you were just talking, the character also has a lot of psychological nuances, and there's a lot of physicality to it. And there's a like a lot of instances in the show where you are in the police station just about to just trying how to cry, and then in the jail you cry.
Mm.
So these are all portions, and also you stammer. These are
Yeah.
all portions which come with a sort of fear of overdoing it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't feel that way when I see you. So how do you strike that balance?
I think you just have to rely on somebody on the outside to tell you. Because I don't go and watch the monitor after each take. I feel like my judgment of it will never be right. I have to trust my director with that. So, like with this kind of like, you know, overdoing the meter or something in a scene and
Mm,
all is definitely a judgment call that a director should take. But having said that, in a process that's as long as shooting a series, this is maybe like 70 days of shoot, or like definitely over 50 days of shoot or something. Uh, Over a period of time, you also develop a certain sense of judgment of whether this is feeling genuine or not, whether this
mm,
feels like Ashu or not. And when you feel like it's a little off, maybe that's a day when you're not quite getting to the honesty of it. Because I feel like
mm,
if you can get to it honestly, then you can go as high or as low as you want with your meter. It's when the honesty is lacking that somebody who's watching it will feel like, oh, that's a bit overdone, or
mm.
That's too underplayed that that moment didn't register at all. It's usually got to do with the honesty.
And you are able to sense that this is something which is a bit out of rhythm or let
Yeah,
go.
yeah. After a while, it was possible to like after there would be takes where I'd start feeling it, but then you continue for the sake of the other actors. But I'd always go have a chat with Chandan sir after, and he would help me like again rediscover the honesty in it, or think about it in a different way and crack it. Those are just like everyday struggles. I feel like every day of shoot, like you never go on set feeling like, oh, today is going to be a great day, I'm going to get
Mhm.
everything right. Every day of shoot is different. Every day is a new day, and anything can happen. There could be days when it just feels like, oh, I'm just like magically accessing everything so easily today, and there'll be
Mhm.
days when you struggle and you'll have to take help and figure your way out of that situation.
Right. Also talking about, you've also uh, worked across languages and done many films in Malayalam and Hindi and I think even Tamil. So when you're working in languages which is not like your first language uh, and different languages, does your way of approach change because each of this language has a different way of expressing emotions? So how does that go on for you?
My approach doesn't really change. I feel like with each project, it sort of does, because you have to understand the director and the world that the film is placed in. That is where you sort of do your calculations and gauge, okay, where exactly do I place this character? How exactly do we play each moment in this? And like this meter that we discussed earlier. So, what is the right meter for this particular kind of film? So, that's something that subjectively changes, I think, project to project.
But in
Um,
terms of language, you don't see a difference in how you are playing it.
Not really, because I've so far only worked in languages which I have a certain amount of comfort with like Hindi, Tamil, and Malayalam. Of course,
Hmm.
Malayalam is my mother tongue, is the language I'm most comfortable in. But Hindi and Tamil are also not alien to me at all. I can speak in Hindi. I can think or like translate my thoughts into Hindi on the go. I don't necessarily need to ratamaro the lines word to word. In Tamil also, because I did college in Madras Christian College in Chennai, and like I've had a lot of friends who are Tamil speakers, so there's some certain kind of familiarity with Tamil. Of course, not as much as I have with Hindi, English, or Malayalam, but it's
Hmm.
still not a language that's so alien to me that demands a drastic change in my process or anything.
Makes sense. Also, having worked in Malayalam film industry and now in Hindi film industry, what are some things you think, both of these industries can learn from each other?
Um,
Hindi from Malayalam and Malayalam from Hindi.
I feel like it's mostly, I don't know, I don't know what an industry can learn from another. I feel like everything that the industry is doing is based on how the audience reacts to what the industry has done before. So I
Hmm.
feel like it's as the audiences change or as they evolve, the industry will automatically follow that evolution or will try to match what, because it is demand and supply. At the end of the day, we are creating
Hmm.
something, but it does not exist or it does not mean anything or is not valuable unless audiences watch it. So it's just what the audiences are demanding that can change an industry. So what can the Malayalam audience learn from a Hindi audience, or vice versa, is probably the question.
And as an actor, how has your sort of experience been working in these two industries? Has there been some difference in how the work
Yeah,
is going?
obviously there are a lot of differences. There are differences which are like cultural differences in nature. Just like the workings of industries are obviously different. Work timings are different, and like a set here and a set of Malayalam, the things that you see and the way people are, all of that is vastly different. But at the core of it, I feel like the familiarity that I find is with the co-process. And being an actor, like we sort of have the luxury and convenience of, we come in for for the short, right? Apart from that, our existence on a set doesn't really make a difference to any of the work that's happening there. We
Hmm.
come in once the shot is set up. I'm not talking about like physically appearing on set. You could be hanging around, or you could be sitting in your vanity, but basically an actor does not matter until the shot is set up and you go stand in front of that camera. That is when you have your part of the job to do, and that core part of the job is the same in both industries. Everything else is like it'll take you a day or two, but you'll get used to it.
Fair. Just one last question. Like, you've been part of diverse films and shows. Uh, what is it that makes you want to say yes to a project? Is it important for you to know the creators, writer, director, or you just go on with the what the script is trying to convince you?
It's actually different for each choice that I make, but it's almost always very important for me to know who the creators are and who my co-workers are going to be. I like that's something that I always ask or try to find out. In fact, there are some filmmakers who are sort of like pre-approved in my head. They call me for anything. I will go in material of what the character is or what the script is like. I just don't care. If you feel like you want to work with me, I am there. Like apart from that, I guess it's just when I read the material, read the script, or when I listen to the story, if I find it exciting, then that's like a half yes in my head already. If and like as you progress with films and with the work that you've done, you your what you find exciting will, I guess, like keep narrowing. It'll have to be something that's different from what you've done recently, or something that you think is like very original or fresh, or you haven't come across recently. So that will obviously keep narrowing, and there will be a tendency to get like choosier, but
Hmm.
then there are life's practicalities at play also.
I'm sorry, would you just name people who you would just say yes to, as you said? What are
There
these
are
characters?
there are so many. There's like such a huge list of directors. It's like yeah,
Okay.
like Vikramaditya Motwane for one. If you need like one name, he calls me for anything, I'll be there.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Roshan, for this lovely interaction. And I'm looking forward to watching the rest of the episodes.
Thank you so
And yeah, all the best for the show and all that you do.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the episodes as well. Thank you.